All right, good morning everybody. So today we're going to be working on the basic shapes and textures to practice for Sculpey. This video is just going to focus on the basic shapes, and then I'll do a second video where we're going to look at the textures. So for today, for the basic shapes, we're going to practice making each of the following shapes. So these ones here out of Sculpey clay. So make sure the shapes are smooth and even and rounded forms. So make them 3D, not flat. So make it a form. So shapes do not have to be exactly the same size as the pictures, but I do want to see that you can make from big to small, okay? So to start with, we're gonna do the little coils because I think that's probably what you're most familiar with. And as you can kind of see from the side, I'm reusing a lot of my stuff from the other worksheets that we did, like the color wheel, some of those ones I still have, and then the color mixing with the marble clay and the Skinner blend and all that. And I'm just gonna reuse those little pieces to do some of these. I'm also gonna use a couple of little different tools, just briefly. So you need something pokey. It could be this tool, it could be a pencil, it could be a paper clip, whatever you need. And I'm gonna use this one, but it could just as easily, again, be a paper clip or something like that. So I'm gonna set those to the side, and I'm gonna start with just reviewing a coil really briefly. And I'll set this to the side too. Okay, so let me pick this one. I'm just gonna start with a smaller coil, so I wanna kind of condition the clay just a little bit by rolling it in my hands. And then you don't wanna do this on like a wood table because it can leave some residue of the oils and stuff, but you can either work on the tin foil that you have or wax paper works. I have this little mat thing, but the other thing is, as long as your tabletop is like the plasticky surface, then it should be fine. But just keeping the tin foil or something under it would be good. So remember, you're just kind of rolling it in your fingers. So there's 4 different sizes of coils, and I started with the skinniest one. Your goal here, it doesn't matter how long it is, you're just trying to make it as even as you can. So if you're trying to make something long and skinny, then use, the amount of clay that you need. So the thicker coils are gonna need a little bit more clay. So I'm just gonna start by kind of rolling a couple different sizes of clay, and then I'm gonna check up on my little worksheet and see what it is. Now, if I know I'm gonna need more clay, then I can always take these and extra pieces that I still have, and I can blend those together. And I can either leave it so I can see the marbling, or I can just kind of squish them together. Because for this part, this particular worksheet, it really doesn't matter whether it is a completed, like a specific color or anything. The color doesn't really matter. So I've got like my little skinniest one, I've got the next one, and I could continue working on that. So I've already done a couple of the larger ones. So it's just the same thing, you just need a little bit more clay. The next one that I want to show is the little moon shapes. So for those ones, for most of those, it's going to be a small amount of clay again. Oh, let me use the green. I think that'll show up better. So I'm going to condition it. I'm going to actually start with a really stubby coil. So I'm just going to roll like a little teeny coil on the table. And then instead of having my finger flat on the top, I'm going to tilt my finger and just kind of roll on the sides. Now you can either, roll your finger this way, or you can flip the clay over. But the main thing is you want to kind of have it really nice and evenly tapered all the way across. So once you have it really nice and evenly tapered, then you can just kind of run your finger down the ends a little bit, and it makes that moon shape. So the smaller ones, you want more clay, or less clay, I should say, and then the bigger one, you want more clay, but that's how those ones work. Now, the most difficult thing I have issues with when doing this kind of thing is sometimes the clay wants to stick to my hand. So if that is the case for you, then moving it around with the tool might be better. The other thing is, if your clay gets too sticky, sometimes it's just because it's like overly conditioned, and if you just put it in the refrigerator for a couple minutes, it'll stiffen it back up again. So then it'll be easier and it won't be as sticky to move around. So there, I've got all my moon shapes. The next one I want to show you is the teardrop shape. So that one, again, it's just having your little piece of clay. You're gonna condition it just real briefly, roll it into a ball, and then it's kind of just half of the little moon shape, the tapered coils. So I've got my little ball, and I'm just gonna roll one side. So you can see my finger is not covering the whole ball. It's just kind of sitting off to the side, and it's in an angle. It's not flat, right? So the main thing on this one is I still wanna see a rounded end on this side. So it's like a teardrop, and then a pointy end on the other side. And as I said, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the sizes on here, but I want to clearly see that you can go from big to small. Let's see, that one might have been a better size for that one over there. That's okay. And as I said, sometimes the hardest part about this is just positioning everything. Okay, so the next one I want to do is the rounded ring. So I am going to use this little ball of brown clay because to me the rounded ring looks like a donut, so I want to use my little brown clay that I have left over here. So I'm just going to condition the clay. I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. Now I'm doing it on the white paper just so you can kind of see what I'm doing better, because if I did brown on brown then it would be difficult to see. But you can work on your tin foil instead of on your paper, and it'll help things from shifting around. So once I have the little circle, then I can take my little tool that's pointed on the end and I can push that into the middle and just kind of wobble it around a little bit until the hole is the size that I want. So here's my little donut. Okay, the last one that I'm going to do is the heart. So that's what I saved my marble clay for, because I might even want to keep this one. So for the heart, you're going to basically start the same way. You'll have a little circle. So here's my little circle. And then you're going to make a slight teardrop shape. So I'm rounding it out just a little bit. Now at this point I got to kind of pick my favorite side, because I want to make sure that my favorite side is kind of the front of the heart. So I'm going to say that this right here is my favorite side. So I have my little teardrop shape, and now I'm going to use that tool here. Like I said, you can use this tool, you can use a paper clip, but really all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little slice right in the top, and I'm going to pull gently to the side, push gently to the other side. So I'm creating like a little mouth area. Now if I just leave it like that, I mean, it's kind of heart shaped, but it's not really what we're going for. So what you want to do next is from this side where you can see the cut, you're going to kind of squish it a little bit so it widens it out. And then we're going to round out this edge. So it's just kind of pushing the clay to make it a little bit more round, pushing the clay to make it a little bit more round at the top. So you're not trying to make it pointy at this part, you're just trying to round it out and make it so it's almost like a, half a sphere on the top of that heart. So now I can make the decision, do I want to make it a slightly pointier heart? Do I need to make this part a little bit deeper if I want to? Like, do I want a wider heart? So those are all choices that you can make as long as you're getting the heart shape. So like here's another one that I made. Maybe you can see that one more clearly. So those are some of the basic shapes that we're going to be using a lot for the next projects that we're going to do. All right, thank you very much. And the next video is going to fill out all the textures down here. Have a good day.